here to talk about it, New York Congressman Peter King. He is a member of the House Homeland Security Committee. You've read the report. Your reaction?
Sean, this is one of the most disgraceful examples of an abuse of power by a government official. And I've known Jim Comey for a number of years. I was on the Intelligence Committee during the Russia investigation. I was on the Homeland Security Committee, and I actually fell for his act for a long time. But I realized that when you read this report, and these aren't like occasional lapses, this is a systematic effort to go after candidate Trump, President-elect Trump, and President Trump. You could virtually call this an attempted coup. And to have the most powerful law enforcement organization in the country being used by the director to bring this about is absolutely shameful. And again, it's not just, listen, anyone can make a mistake, release a document by error, misclassify a certain document. No, we're talking about a systematic effort here. So I found this shocking. And I think that the media and political and governmental people in general should be more outraged than they are. Because this could be done by another FBI director against a Democratic candidate or a Democratic president. This has nothing to do with politics, party politics. It really involves the heart of our democracy.
I want to read a tweet from Rod Rosenstein, formerly with the Department of Justice. He writes, "It is important to follow established policies and procedures, especially when the stakes are high. We should be most on guard when we believe that our own uncomfortable circumstances justify ignoring principles respected by our predecessors." Because a lot of people are saying that essentially James Comey is getting a pass here.
Right. What Comey is trying to say is that he's above the law, that if he thinks something is right, if he thinks something is it's so important that supersedes what the law and what the protocols, what the procedures are. And that's how you get a tyranny. Now, Rod Rosenstein in this case is entirely accurate. And he's certainly not a Trump man. I mean, Rod Rosenstein was the one who appointed Bob Mueller as the special counsel. So to have him be this caustic and this critical of Jim Comey, to me, says an awful lot. It shows us how flagrant these violations were. And for Comey to be asking for an apology shows that either he's living in his own world or he's even more arrogant than we thought he was.
Byron York has an interesting piece in the Washington Examiner today detailing this plan by James Comey to have a private conversation with President Trump and then spring on him some of the details, the salacious details, frankly, of the Steele dossier, and record his reaction and then transmit it around some of the highest levels of the nation's law enforcement agencies. It's pretty concerning stuff.
It really is. Here you have an FBI director trying to entrap the president-elect of the United States. I mean, this again, and he went out of his way when he was testifying before Congress to say he was only doing this for President Trump's own good, to let him know what was out there. But of course, the FBI was not investigating the president. Well, the fact is, it's obvious now they were trying to set the president up. They were trying to entrap him. And again, it's hard to imagine. Maybe we're just too numb to everything that's going on. But just think of this, a FBI director trying to entrap a president of the United States based on a salacious document provided by Russian intelligence. I mean, this is, and also paid for by the opposing campaign committee. This is just so wrong. It's hard to fully describe it or to realize how bad it is. But step back for a moment and think what we're talking about here. An FBI director trying to entrap the president of the United States with a phony document that he couldn't even vouch for. I mean, it's disgraceful.
And he and his bureau were not even briefing the incoming president on some of the items they were working. Apparently, James Comey didn't like Donald Trump from, well, even before he took office. That's pretty clear.
Yeah, and that whole establishment did. And Jim Comey, John Brennan, General Clapper, all of them. They had it in for candidate Trump. He was not their type of person. He was not their style. They wanted to stop him. And then when he got elected, they didn't know what to do. So they, again, resorted to the most unsavory tactics. I mean, it was just barely a month after the election when suddenly you have the intelligence community revise its belief and now say that Putin was supporting Trump, which they had never said up till then. They were doing everything they can to stop him as a candidate, stop him as the president-elect, and then bring him down as president. All, again, something that should never be going on in a democracy. If this was the other way around, the liberals and the media and the New York Times, the Civil Liberties Union would be screaming their heads off.
They were all surprised by his election. Congressman Peter King. Peter, thank you.